And they said we're live. And guess what? I did not do.
You did not go to Facebook and tell the people
Yes.
because we never go to Facebook to tell the people until afterwards. Oh,
Afterwards,
look,
yeah.
it's a good screenshot of me this time.
What do you mean a good screenshot?
Sometimes those thumbnails are not okay.
Uh,
I look at the
There
thumbnail
your
and I'm
ass
like,
go.
really, y'all? Really?
That's live here.
Never go to Facebook.
Uh,
It's true.
There your ass go. You hear me? Let's share, John.
I love the reverb in the background. Hi, friends. Welcome to 40 seconds of John and I getting ourselves together this morning.
Okay.
There is neither coffee, tea, hot chocolate, apple cider, or pumpkin spice latte in this mug.
What is it?
It's called mud water. No, this is not a commercial. They're not paying me. Although, if y'all want to pay me, I'll
Hey,
gladly take a check.
she'll take it.
I will take a check. I will also take free mud water because it's delicious. It's four mushrooms
Hmm.
and cacao and a masala chai mix,
Mm.
and I make it in oat milk, so it's a latte.
Wow.
Delicious.
You know, I tried it once. I tried uh the mushroom creamer that they have. They have a creamer that they sell, and I tried it. It tastes delicious, but mushrooms are a fungus, and my body does not do a fungus with any sort. So it was want. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's cool. And I saw the health benefits from it. But if you have a predisposition with what is it, mushrooms and fungus, it creates an itchy skin, and that's not a good look for me because I look like
Yeah, that's not okay.
yeah,
There is one thing that it might not trigger. We can talk about that
yeah.
afterwards. It's not the whole mushroom, it's an extract.
Okay.
I'll tell you about that. But uh, yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Being John Ashford, fuck. It's a lot of things that in my world that I'm like, womp. Okay, that's not bad. It just and then you roll with the punches. But let's not hesitate while we're here today. You know, this is celebrating this, I think it's called Women's Month.
It's
Yes.
it's Women's History Month.
History Month. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, Lila has made history.
I've made history a bunch, haven't I?
Yes. And so we're going to dedicate today's segment with my dear magical sister, Lila. And I want to say some stuff because we're talking about what we're going to talk about because we get together during the weekend. We always say, what are we going to talk about? And she started just talking about her magic of being. And everybody always hear me talk about being John Asher, being. And when I was listening to what she does in her work and what she just, and that's just one aspect. And she beats herself up about being an ideal parent, which as a probation officer in the juvenile department sitting in my office right now, uh, those who feel that they're not doing a well job pretty much outdoing those who think they're doing a good job. And so so there's a lot of aspects that I'm gonna beat you up on and ask you questions, but I want to celebrate because the history of my partner on here. We've been doing
That's
this for some months now. And so I really want you to, this is braggadocious. This is where you turn into Jay-Z. I would say, what's my boy from the north of you, Kanye or Ye, but
Kanye.
Ye
Yeah.
is a little confused right now. I got sending out contributions out to my brother. I really like that dude,
Yes.
but anyway, no further ado. Da-da.
Ta-da. You
Lila.
started saying that you were going to say some things because we started talking last night. And what were you going to say?
Last night?
Just now, you said you were going to say some stuff.
Oh. So what I'm
Sparked
saying
from
is
last night's
how
conversation.
the issues that we were talking about are things we brought out, the type of work that you do and
Oh,
how
yeah.
you stay busy and how you think that I don't need any more clients, which is bullshit. Because if you good, you should have them knocking. You don't have to advertise. Some of my points of view that I roll with, but
Yeah, I've
and
had
the
a couple
magic
of
that you have.
moments where
Oh,
I've had people send me like applications, and I've been like, no, not
yeah,
right now.
and I also want you to talk about this class I'm in, this
Oh, the
gratitude,
miracle
extreme
workshop.
gratitude. Yeah,
We talked about the miracle workshop last
miracle.
week.
Yes.
Um, and you were not the only person that was like, what is this? Why am I just finding out about it? Let me in. So since John joined, two more people have joined, three more people
Woo, woo,
have
woo, woo.
joined. And speaking of healing our history, I realized going through my Facebook memories recently that just March is Miracle Workshop Month.
Hmm. Wow.
And I think that, I don't know if I talked about this last time. So if I did, y'all bear with me. You're going to hear this story again. But I think of March was the month that I got the book that sparked this whole thing. Um, no, it wasn't. March was the month. March, April, April, May, June. March was the last month that we lived with my mother-in-law. So we lived with my children's grandmother, for 9 months. Thought it was going to be like 6 weeks. Ended up being like 9 months.
Wow.
And at the end of that experience, it didn't really end because I was like steady and stable and on my feet. It ended because we were both like, this is over.
So how did you know it was over?
She suggested the kids and I get a hotel.
Okay.
I knew it was over way before then, but I didn't see the route out. And she
Yeah.
was just like, nah, bro. So we ended up in like a roommate type situation where some people that I knew was like at the end of their lease, and we were spending the night there anyway. So I was just like, how about I just give you $1,500 and like pay a third of the rent and be a full roommate for the rest of your lease? And they were like, we'll take your money, sure, no problem. So we were getting to the end of um, that 3 months, and I was like, I'm broke. I got these kids. I ain't got no job. I mean, I had some freelance clients, but it did not look like it looks right now.
Yeah.
And I got these toddlers, and school's about to be out, so I ain't got no childcare and I ain't got no transportation. And what am I going to do with my life? And this book arrived in the mail, and it's Make Miracles in 40 Days by Melody Beattie. And I did the process all wrong, but it still worked. um,
What was the process?
the process was what we go through in the miracle workshop. I've added to it since then, but it's like define your miracle, write out your desires, read those two things every day, and then do the extreme gratitude. And I've added like energy work and a forgiveness practice to that because I have learned. Um, but within 3 weeks of doing I wrote out the miracle and then I did the extreme gratitude every day. I didn't even read the miracle every day. I knew what it was. I want a place to live with my kids. Like, that's
Hmm.
easy peasy. I didn't need to read that every day. But I did the extreme gratitude every day, and I did it with an accountability partner. And she and I actually ended up doing that practice for like 1,800 days before we stopped.
So what's an accountability partner?
Someone who she read my gratitude list every day and I read hers. I didn't do that with y'all in the workshop
Yeah.
because it is a very nuanced thing to do that practice with a partner,
Okay.
because you need to not be someone who's a rescuer,
Uh-huh.
and you
Good
need to
morning, Greg.
good morning, Greg, and you need to not awake yet. You'll be awake soon.
Yeah.
You need to not be a rescuer, and your partner needs to not be a rescuer. If either one of you is a rescuer, you're not going to do the practice well or correctly. So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of how we ended up completing our practice together.
Wow. That's deep. Yeah, I'm in a class right now and it's dope. I mean, one of the things that made me focus on was said the gratitude. Like I get up and I beat myself up because I haven't done it every day, and then I get mad because the time gets past me. Like I get one, like I'll do this, and then I'll get busy with something else, and I'm like, But I was just like having gratitude for the awareness that I'm not doing it every day. You know, um,
Yeah, I mean, these things are all practices. It's not about being perfect at it, it's about the practice of it. And if it's bringing to your awareness, it's almost like the an alternate version of Dane's "What's right about this? I'm not getting."
yeah,
Except it's not that deep. It's just like, in those moments where you realize that you're not doing it, you can be like, I give thanks that I'm not doing this practice as
yeah.
well as I think I
Well,
should.
it is as deep. I'm gonna say from my experience, I,
Okay.
I it's different. That's all for me.
Hmm.
It takes you there. See, one of the things that I'm beginning to realize, the reason I wanted to celebrate, and the reason I'm glad I'm part of this, and what sparked me is that having different avenues for me of consciousness information coming in, it gives me the Batman utility belt of
Yes.
possibilities. So that when I get, I was like, Batman always say shit like, "Man, you could never walk down the street. You'd be all like this because you have too many utilities." But could you have too many choices, possibly tools or utilities that will create something that keeps you?
I don't think so. I mean, if you saw my bookcase, you would know that the answer to that question is no.
Mm.
Um, I was
Good morning,
once,
Kathy.
someone once said that I have like a Mary Poppins bag of healing arts tools. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, I love that description. Yes. Because, I've been doing this for like 26 years now.
Yeah,
I have a few
longevity.
tools. Just a
And
few.
y'all, she's a steal. I'm gonna say it. She don't get embarrassed. She probably throat punch me afterwards. She's a steal to work with because she don't charge enough. She don't charge enough. So you should come in the
Get in
basement.
here
But I
now.
don't wait yet because I'm gonna. By the time I finish messing with this motherfucker, she gonna be charging real chart prices where people gonna like, oh my god, you know. I'm in a class this weekend with Dane and Gary foundation class, and they said something to me that I didn't understand. That I was like, wow, that's true. If your prices are up here, and you had let's say you had 100 people, but 50 people were just like a headache, and you moved up to your prices to double your prices, you're still making the same money
You can get
without
rid
a
of the
riffraff.
headache. Yeah. I just
Yeah,
realized, speaking of
yeah.
healing our history, so I was going through my Facebook memories, and I was, there were a lot of, I'm so grateful that, because my little one, my youngest, used to have really severe allergies. Like I would get called at work to come get him from school because X, Y, and Z. He's
Uh-huh.
broken out in hives or he's wheezing or whatever. He's just miserable and needs to come home. Or he would wake up and I'd be like, "You're not going to school today, and I guess I'm not going to work either." Um, and last week, I just didn't feel great all week. And there was a whole lot of working from bed. And I'm like, I did the math, and one of my clients pays me in 13 hours a week. I get paid what I used to have to work 26 hours a week,
Mhm.
including weekends, outside of my house. And I get paid double, almost double what I made in a month
Wow.
to do
I'll get
half
better
the
than that.
work from wherever my laptop is. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, I guess I am healing a lot of this history, huh?
Hmm. Let's get better than that.
Yeah,
But
that was what sparked my post where I was like, 4 years ago, I wanted this, and this, and I got it. Like, what dream are you living now?
wow. So tell them what you do too, because I mean, I'm intrigued still.
Um, so I have four virtual assistant clients right now, and then I have one client that I'm on her team, and I'm not sure what to call myself for this. Basically, I host co-working sessions, these specific kinds of co-working sessions in her community.
Hmm.
They're called Momentum Facilitated Co-working Sessions, and they're actually free for y'all to attend. So if you want the Facebook group that the calls are held in, just let me know and I'll pop you in there. Um,
What are the
but
calls about? What are the calls about?
they're co-working sessions,
Okay.
and don't hear the word co-working and run away thinking like I don't have a business, although you do. Kathy does. I don't know about Greg. But a lot of y'all do have a business. However, if you don't, I've had people show up to momentum sessions and be like, so I'm going to declutter this room that I'm in.
Daniel.
Somebody last week showed up and was like, I'm going to clear off my desk so that I can actually work. So, yeah, they're intended like focus work sessions. But what usually happens is people show up and like invoice clients that they haven't invoiced in a while, or pay their bills, or somebody was like, oh, I'm medical proxy for my father and I need to like handle that. Or in January, I had two different people schedule doctor's appointments during the sessions. So they're really like show up and do what you need to do in community. And to like pat myself on the back, I'm a pretty epic space holder.
What does
So
that mean? I
um,
know, but do they know?
I don't know if they know. Do you feel what that means in your body, y'all? It means that people all the time tell me that they feel better when they leave my space, regardless of what is going on in the experience. So whether it's a co-working session or a miracle workshop or a Reiki journey, just people feel better when they leave my space.
Wow, that's true. I want to give testimony of feeling better. Just like I'm spoiled. I got her private number. It's almost like I could just put the bat light up and she'd call me like, "Hey, what's up, Batman?" Uh, but I would say there is a healing energy about you that I think that's one of the things that I think, and I'm gonna beat you up on this one. So I don't think you celebrate or you allow people to know how magical. And so they get this one package from you working, but they also get. It's almost like I just bought a uh, what is a new wave oven fryer oven because mine is like broke down. And what I realized is that they sell you this, and then they say, and in addition, you get this, and this.
Oh, it's like the air fryer that's also a toaster oven that
Yeah.
also bakes things.
And then
Yeah.
they give you little silicone baking utensils and stuff, and that's cool, and I'm really impressed with that. But also, my analogy is like I think that's what people might not realize that they get from you. Uh, uh, yes, see you in class, Kathy. Be there in a second. Um, but I think people don't realize that's what they get from you when they're working with you. And that's how come I was just so intrigued by your magic of like when you explaining what you're doing, like the writing, like, so tell them more like, cause what, okay, so this is what I get. So people do things. And so she transcribes them. And I was just like, and she says, well, if I have a half hour of information, it takes me an hour to do it.
Yeah.
Man, I went back and I looked at some of the shit that I did on my own. I was like, I'd be 4 hours sitting there doing but, you know,
No.
I was like,
Okay.
it's a gift.
So
It's a gift.
first of
You know,
all, it's I do type fast. I type 85 words a minute with a 10% error rate, but I'm not typing it all out. It's already typed out.
uh-huh.
So I'm gonna like go backwards. So my one client, I basically just check her emails, and when
Hmm.
she has, I send out reminder calls to her one-to-one clients when she has a coaching session scheduled, and I write contracts. I don't write the contracts. I prepare the contracts and I send them to be sent by the client or to be signed by
Okay.
the client. That's her. My other client, I basically chase people who haven't paid and I send agreements. I send their
Yeah.
contracts out as well. So that's those two. And then the one that I do the editing for. So it's a conversation that's kind of like this,
Hmm.
except sometimes there's 4 or 5 people in the conversation. They record the conversation on Zoom. That conversation gets uploaded into a transcription program, and that program pulls the transcript. So it takes the audio, it makes it words. I simultaneously listen to the audio and read the words, and then I make the words make sense. And then once the words make sense, I take them out of that document, put them in another document where she can access it and turn it into a newsletter type of experience for the people who were not live on the call.
Gotcha.
I also highlight, this would be great for social media. This is a great point. You might want to like pull that as a bullet point and make it bold for people. This is a conversation. This is a question that was asked over and over again. Maybe it should be a question that's asked in your community. The video also goes to another program. I go into that program, change the video type to a link where people can access it. You know how in a Google Doc, it can be private to just you, or private to you and anybody with a link, or completely public. I changed the status of it so that people can actually access it. And then I pull the link from there. I rename it. I pull the link from there and put it in the document as well. So that all she has to do is like read through what I highlighted and say, yeah, I want all these things highlighted, or I also want to highlight these other things, and then push it out to the people in the community who were not live on the call. And I also host healing circles in that community as well. So I haven't done a happy hour in a long time. But
what does healing circle look like?
People show up and I channel a healing from source. And with my Mary Poppins bag of healing arts tools, who knows what that's going to look like? It's never the same thing all the time. And then people ask questions afterwards and like share their feedback if they have any, and then we go on about our way. Sometimes
So people watching hearing this for the first time, how do you have a website or something people can go to sign up for how do they find out?
You have to be in her community. Sorry, y'all. Because I'm not doing them publicly right now. I'm just not. I'm cultivating my energy so that I can hold doing them publicly.
Where can people find you though? Where can you come out of the hiding?
Where do I come out of hiding? Yeah. I don't. I'm hanging out in private communities right now, apparently. That's where you can find me, in private communities.
Interesting.
I have, okay, so speaking of healing our histories, what I realized this past Thursday is that, so one of the things that I talked to John about last night, I'm going to talk to y'all, like John's not here for a second. One of the things that I talked to John about last night is being what Access calls being me, being all of me. What one of my teachers, Perry Chase, calls being right-sized. And so what that means is what keeps coming up is my my first foundation with Sarah Grandinetti, and just spending 4 days being told you're not wrong after 38 years of just feeling wrong. And that cracked open the door on my willingness to be like, what if I'm not wrong? What if I'm amazing and powerful and sweet and kind, but also like petty and vengeful? What if I'm not just the sweet, meek version of me that you get on Facebook? Like, what if I'm also kind of a bitch? Because I am. And controlling and bossy and like all of those things. And so I like how you were like, wait, who's this person?
No, I pulled it closer because that energy is, I'm in a class and we're talking about being all of that.
Yeah.
We had a meeting last night about releasing, and people were like, I call it the Darth Vader energy.
You know? So, I know these things about myself, but I do my best to like squish them down into like a presentable presence that people are
Mhm.
going to enjoy. I'm whiskey, not everybody's going to enjoy me. Um, so I have had a depression diagnosis since 2001, 2002. And the specific diagnosis is dysthymia, which is basically like functional depression. Like you're depressed and you hate it here, but it's not going to stop you from doing anything. I went to school, I graduated with honors, I paid all my bills, I took care of my mom and my dysfunctional marriage, like all the things. But this whole time I am depressed, right? So, what I realized on Thursday as I left therapy with a moderate depression and mild anxiety diagnosis, and I went into therapy feeling amazing. And
Mhm.
then I was like, well, hell, if this is what amazing feels like what gets to happen when I no longer have depression or anxiety is like a thing in my world. But one of the things that I realize that I do is I get to this space and I'm like, let me do all the things, except I'm not really capacity to do all the things right now. I'm capacity to hold what I'm holding. And it's like when I started doing push ups and I could finally do that one push up, I didn't then go, oh, let me do 50 more because I don't have the arm strength for that. So I'm at like one push up and I'm just going to be here and keep doing my one push up until I get to three. And at some point, I'm going to quantum leap into 40 again. But I'm not pushing myself there and I'm not rushing myself there because what happens is I fry my system and that is a history that I'm healing. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm hiding in the private communities because they're paying me to be there anyway.
Yes.
And while I'm there, I am hosting these experiences, and one of them is free, and you can get in and come to a
You,
co working session.
one
Yes.
of the things I want to go back to, and when you said something that uh, this is just my point of view with it, and I get it from I heard a lot of from Access, but it was very helpful to me. Uh, you said anxiety, you have anxiety and depression, and I realized, and that this is no sting on this, is just another interesting point of view that I have with that is that I used to feel that, and sometimes I still do, and I have to I check myself because um, I'll give you this example. I don't know if anybody's been noticing my screen goes dark and light, and it does it on my phone, and it does it in other things. And what I realized, and this is me exposing myself, like I'm not gonna take my clothes off, but exposing myself to people, some of my information of having awareness of entities.
Hmm.
And it's not until my wife pointed out the light and dark on my screen, the candles flying off the top of the TV once before, having a capacity with something and thinking that it was mine. Yesterday in class, I was having a conversation with Gary and Dane in the foundation class. And uh,
It's pumpkin time, by the way, but keep talking.
oh, snap. Okay. Having awareness, like crazy ass awareness. I used to use as depression. And when I realized, and I still feel depressed. But the question I like to ask, how many people are you tapped into? Mine is especially in the morning, like between 3 and 5 o'clock. I wake up and I'm like, ah, and I'm realizing that it's not necessarily mine. And by the time I get to about 8 o'clock, and I've asked a bunch of questions and I got rid of some of the entities floating away, like the screen's light right now, then I feel like, okay, get the fuck off my back. This is me. That's not mine. I can send you some contributions energetically. And then the anxiety that I had is really the excitement of being able to do that. Now that I notice, like, it's just like I'm Mighty Mouse, if you can see up there, which is an old cartoon when I was a kid. I'm really Mighty Mouse, I'm like, I can fly through the air like, la, 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 la. But that's just, and I take that and I was like, I think that's, before we get off here, I want to say that you are to me. And that's experience, like, even within your depression, how much of that is actually the capacity of being able to pick up so much people's stuff in 1 second that it becomes over. It's like opening the door and a wave of. Oh, imagine opening the door and the Missouri River, Mississippi River, I think is near you. It's floating through the door all of a sudden. It's like, oh my God! It's,
Yeah.
you know, that's what I.
So so John's turning into a pumpkin and he's gotta go.
Yeah,
But so we're gonna leave y'all with a cliffhanger, and we're gonna
yeah,
talk about depression,
yeah.
my experience with healing my history with depression next week.
Cool. Okay, till next week, y'all. Peace and blessings. Love you much. We'll see
Bye,
you. Bye.
everybody.
I'm turning into a pumpkin.